Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. In today's video we're talking about the top palette releases of 2023 so far. This is either my second or third year in a row doing this video, like at the end of June, and I always find that the best palettes come out towards the end part of the year. But this year I'm not sure if that's going to be a thing that happens, because I feel like the first half of 2023 was very strong when it comes to palette releases. Now these top palettes, and I didn't want to put a number on it, like initially I thought I was going to do top 10 palettes, but I didn't want to put a number on the amount of palettes I talked about because I wanted them to be palettes that truly stand out in my eyeshadow palette collection, which, as some of you may know, is a bit on the large side, right? So these are palettes that launched this year that I think stand out overall in my entire makeup collection, that I would pick over the rest. I think I ended up with either 7 or 8 palettes total that I truly feel like stand out when it comes to my makeup preferences, how much I want to use them. These are palettes that I truly want to reach for every day. I would be happy reaching for these every single day. So if you're excited for this video, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up and let's go ahead and get started. As per usual, every single palette I talk about in today's video is going to be listed and linked down below in the description box. You may be able to find some of them on the icon here. I can't put them on the icon unfortunately, but definitely check out the description box if you're interested in buying any of these. Whenever you shop for my links, you are helping out my channel. And if you want to know what I'm wearing on my face today, I also have all of those products listed and linked down below in the description box. So I'm not talking about these in any specific order. And one palette that truly stood out to me this year, even though it's kind of like on the simplistic side, is this one here from the Pat McGrath Love Collection. This is the Pat McGrath Mothership Velvet Liaison palette, and this is Pat's first all matte palette in her lineup. We know that Pat McGrath loves her shimmer shades, she loves her sparkles, and honestly so do I, right? But there is something to be said about an all matte palette, especially because this palette has what I consider to be an amazing combination of mattes. Not only do you have different undertones within these 6 shades, but you have a shade for everything. If you want to brighten up the eye look without using shimmer, you can definitely use this stunning matte shade right here to deepen up the eye look. This very beautiful deep matte brown, and then within the other 4 colors you have a taupey shade that is a perfect transition. You have a more pinky tone in case that's the vibe. You have this plum shade in case you want to go for a very cool toned sort of look. And if you want to go for a warm tone, you have this orangey brown shade right here. So even though these are only 6 shades of matte, I feel like there is a lot of variety within this color story without it being colorful. I understand this is not a colorful palette. There could be more variety of shades in here if they had color. However, I find that these colors are perfect because they are beautiful and they are wearable, and you can literally take this palette anywhere with you and come up with very amazing timeless eyeshadow looks that are going to blend seamlessly and that have amazing pigmentation. And you can wear a palette like this to a lot of different formal occasions. You can tone it down and not use like the darker colors and use it for like everyday work type of occasions. It is a truly versatile, natural looking palette in my opinion. And the reason I'm including this one in this video, the reason that this one truly adds a lot of value to my overall eyeshadow palette collection is because in my mind right now, if you ask me to pick out an all matte eyeshadow palette, this is the one that I would go for. If I have a specific single shimmer shade that I want to use and I want to combine it with mattes, this would be the palette that I would go for. And so for that reason, this one truly stands out to me. I wish it had Pat's more luxurious packaging instead of the cardboard one, but I'm very happy with the formulas regardless. The next palette I want to talk about is one that launched very recently, and that is the Yucca palette from Natasha Denona. This one has a truly unique color story, and I can honestly tell you that I don't have any other palette in my collection that has these types of shades in it specifically. So for that reason, this palette stands out as a very beautiful and unique palette. I also love that Natasha Denona went all in with the super fun metallic duochrome shades when it came to this one. She was not shy of giving us exactly what we wanted and what we've been asking for a long time, or at least I've been asking for a long time, which is really nice potent metallic shades with sparkles in them that are going to stand out and be very, very attention grabbing, very catchy shades when the light hits it. By the way, if you're interested in getting anything at all from the Natasha Denona website, whether it's this palette or any of her other palettes, eyeliners, lip liners, glosses, anything you want, you can save 15% off the Natasha Denona website using my code PATTY15, which I have on the screen right now. So if you want to save some money with Natasha Denona, please use my code. Besides the absolutely stunning metallic shimmer shades that she gave us in this one also has a lot of interesting looking greens. Like, I can honestly tell you I didn't have a color like Camu before in my collection, and I think that with this palette she truly created a very beautiful, very unique color story. I'm definitely looking forward to the fall season because I feel like when fall arrives I'm not going to be able to put this palette down. Absolutely love it. Plus it has Natasha Denona's amazing formulas, which are so creamy, so buttery, so easy to use, so pigmented, etc. So I love it. Highly recommend it for sure. Oden's Eye truly has been killing it this year with the eyeshadow palette releases, as I have more than one of their palettes in this very narrow list of palettes that I'm going to talk about today. I do also have a code with Oden's Eye. It is PATTY10 and you save 10% off of the Oden's Eye website. So any of the palettes from Oden's Eye that I'm about to talk about, you can get with that code. Well, not all of them, because I think the first one I'm going to talk about might already be discontinued, and that is this one right here. This is the Sea Talk palette, which is a collaboration with Oden's Eye and Lauren May Beauty. I obviously really love Oden's Eye's eyeshadow formula. They have had a couple of dots in my opinion. Obviously, those did not make it to this video, but these truly have spectacular formulation. And so this Sea Talk palette doesn't only have... Oh my god, I just realized maybe I did have a color like Camu. Let me compare the two. Sorry, I'm like going off track right here, but I didn't realize how similar these were. Take a look right there. Wow. They are kind of similar to one another. Okay, back to where I was. This palette doesn't only have a beautiful formula, but it also has a stunning color story designed by Lauren herself. I love the combination of colors that she put together. If you want something a bit colorful, you have this part of the palette. If you want to go for more natural looking shades, you have these 4 shades right here to go with. Every single one of these colors goes amazingly with one another. It has a perfect combination between the shimmers and the mattes that she put in this one. This pink right here makes perfect sense because you can literally use it with either the blues or the more natural looking colors. It is an excellent palette. I had so much fun creating looks with this one back at the beginning of the year where I first got it, and I honestly want to continue reaching for it all the time. Plus, it's a unique color story. I definitely don't have any other palette in my collection that has this combination of colors right here. I just realized I hadn't swatched any of the shades for you, so here's some finger swatches of the Sea Talk palette from Oden's Eye, and you can see how beautiful and pigmented and shiny and just perfect these shades are. I'm going to just keep going with the Oden's Eye palettes. Obviously, I feel the same about every single one of the Oden's Eye palettes in the sense that I love the formulation, the pigmentation, the shimmers, all of that. So I'm going to just focus on the color story. Another palette I really loved was their Stone and Rock eyeshadow palette. I feel like Oden's Eye is doing something different when it comes to the color stories, because I always find that they come out with things that are unique and different enough from things we've already seen on the market. This one, for example, is mainly green, but it's not a boring all green palette which we've seen 1,000 times. This one has your super deep colors as well. It has a black and a white, which I found very helpful when it came to this palette specifically, because you can use any of these shades of green. This one's more like a brown, but you can use any of those matte shades combined with the white or combined with the black and create a whole nother shade completely that makes this palette give you a different experience every time you use it. Besides that, they are not afraid of putting duochrome shades in their palettes. They're not afraid of putting multi-chromes in their palettes. They're not afraid of really going there with the shimmer or the sparkle. Every single one of these shimmers is so pigmented. This right here is a multi-chrome shade. It is green and blue and purple. Let me see if I can show you on camera. It's green and then it's kind of like teal, and the more you turn it, it kind of goes purple as well. Such a beautiful shade with so much dimension to it. They're definitely not afraid to go there with the color story. Every single one of their palettes is so cohesive. You always have a shade for the inner corner. You always have a shade to put on the outer corner and intensify things with. You always have a perfect transition when it comes to their palettes, and this is of course no exception. This is another palette that I think I'm going to get the most use out of during the fall time, but even during the spring and summer I've been using the first 2 rows of it. The day I went to the Ed Sheeran concert, this was the palette that I was wearing. I love it. And then the last one from Oden's Eye is the one that I am wearing right now. This is probably my most favorite palette that has launched in 2023 so far. I know I wasn't going to go there with the ranking. This is not a rankings video, but I think this would be number 1. And that is this one right here. This is from the same collection, the Jewels and Gem palette from Oden's Eye. I mean, you can see by how beautiful this looks on my eyes why I'm obsessed with this palette. I really gravitate towards the top row of it, but you don't have to just have pinky purpley looks with it. You can go very deep and intense with your shades. You can go more blue if you want to. Like I said, they're not afraid of giving you the sparkle and the multi-chrome, and these matte shades are super pigmented, super soft, so easy to blend. You even have this sage green shade right here that gives you a completely different experience when it comes to this one. I just love this color story. This color story is so versatile. By the way, I did looks with these palettes that I'm talking about. When I first reviewed this collection in my original review video I did 2 looks with the Stone and Rock palette, and I did 2 looks with the Jewels and Gem palette. I also just filmed this look for a Get Ready With Me video. And I truly think that these color stories stand out so much in my collection. I definitely don't have another palette in my collection where with these few shades I can get the variety of looks that this one gives me, with spectacular formulations, spectacular shimmers, incredible mattes. I honestly cannot shut up about them, but I will right now. So definitely get the Jewels and Gem palette. Like I said, out of every single palette I am mentioning in this video, I think that one is my number 1 favorite. Another one of my most favorite palettes that has come out this year is from Anastasia. I feel like she is coming back with her palettes. I feel like with this one, it's like an official I'm making a comeback. She's released a few palettes throughout the past year, at least 3 I think, and while I'm usually always excited for a new Anastasia palette to come out, this one truly made a difference to me because they went outside of what they usually do with it. I'm talking of course about the Anastasia Cosmos palette right here. The packaging is beautiful, but of course my favorite thing is what's inside it, which is this really stunning shade. I don't remember a lot of duochrome shades when it came to Anastasia palettes in the past, and in this palette you have these 3 right here, which are incredibly stunning, and also, as you can see, very shiny. They don't have any big sparkles in them, but they are very shiny shades, which I definitely love and appreciate. And then another one of my absolute favorite things when it comes to this one is these 3 matte shades right here. These are nice. I know you can intensify your look with, but I've been really loving soft eyeshadow looks like what I'm wearing right now, and I find that with these 3 matte shades that they included in this palette, you can get some very spectacular soft looks. The formulas of these matte shades are incredible. They are very, very easy to work with, and you can create some really soft and romantic looks with these, especially when combined with this shimmer duochrome shade right here. I feel like in the past, Anastasia palettes were always different and daring and something new and exciting that we hadn't seen before, and as the industry got super clustered, they lost that edge. And I'm not saying that with just this palette they recuperated their edge, but they're doing something different. They're actually one of the few high-end brands that are sold super widely that is incorporating the duochromes into their palettes. We usually see those only from indie brands, which is very disappointing in my opinion. So I'm glad that they went there with this palette, and while this is not the most unique color story I've seen, I find myself wanting to reach for it all the time. We did 7 looks with it here on my channel. I did a review video where I did 2 looks, and then of course I did a 5 looks 1 palette with it, which I absolutely loved doing because I had so much fun playing with all of the shades. I have 1 palette to go and then 1 bonus mention. The last palette I wanted to talk about is from Pat McGrath, and it is this quad right here. This is the Divine Bronze Luxe Quad in Venusian Sunrise from Pat McGrath, and I find that this little quad is perfection. First of all, you guys know that I get extra giddy, extra excited when it comes to Pat McGrath because I love the formulas and I love the packaging and I love the sparkle. And this quad right here has an amazing, amazing gold sparkle. It's like a copper gold duochrome that shines super brightly, and I absolutely love it. You have your good old inner corner shade right here in this other shimmer, and then these matte colors that are so incredible, so buttery, so pigmented, so adequate for the shimmers that she included in this palette as well. Just take a look at how buttery these matte shades swashed right here. Even though this is a 4-pan palette, just a good old eyeshadow quad, I enjoy creating looks with this one a lot. When I first got it, I think I did 3 different videos where I created different looks with it, because even though it's just 4 shades, I find it to be a very fun to play with, very natural looking, very elegant, versatile little quad, and so I absolutely love it. It has become one of my favorite quads from Pat McGrath, which I have all of them, so that's a lot to say that this is probably in my top 3 Pat McGrath quads right now, maybe even top 2. In love with this one, and so of course I highly recommend it. And then my mention product I am mentioning because this isn't technically a palette. It is an assortment of eyeshadow singles that I highly recommend, and I'm not usually a singles person. I'm not usually a singles eyeshadow type person. However, because I created a palette with them, I love them. And I'm talking about the single eyeshadows from Odin's Eye. This is what my palette looks like, but mainly the shades that I see myself reaching for are the top 8 shades in this palette. In particular, this one, this one, this one, that one, this one, and this one. So the first 7 shades in this palette are the ones that I always reach for. So every single one of these is a multi-chrome shade, even though I always have the hardest time showing you on camera when a shade, oh, you can see it on that purple there. Look at that blue that pops up on the corner. All of these are multi-chrome shades, and I really love my eyeshadow looks whenever I have used them. I feel like eyeshadow singles that stand out in my collection is something that has never happened to me before, because I'm usually a palette person. But I see myself wanting to reach for these shades specifically, and then just finding something else to put around them because I love the formulas that much. I love the pigmentation of these shades and the shine that much. And by the way, I usually find myself combining these multi-chrome shades right here with the Pat McGrath palette that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. This right here is a combo made in eyeshadow heaven. I absolutely love it. So this was my bonus product of the video, and these are undoubtedly my favorite palettes that have launched this year so far. I think that they have unique qualities, that they stand out in my collection, and I find myself wanting to reach for them all the time. Let me know what your thoughts are, whether or not you agree, or if there is a palette that I didn't mention but you think should be included in this list. Let us know down in the comment section below. Don't forget to please give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love you all so much. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you back in the next video. Bye.